Introduce Jonas Kano, who's the Business Development Director. And your session is going to be on de-risking the supply chain in data center builds across EMEA. So if you... Perfect. Great. I will leave it to it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for coming. Again, my name is Jonas Kano from Flat Group. And as you can see, title of the presentation is de-risking the supply chain in data center builds across EMEA. Now, you can all remember the pandemic. One of the biggest problems we had as a data center industry was supply. There was demand, that was fine, but there just wasn't enough supply because of the pandemic. We're in a similar scenario now, but not about the pandemic, but about AI. So AI is actually running ahead when it comes to supply. So if you look at the data center deployments in terms of capacity, well, for the first half of this year, it was about just over 10 gigawatts. And by the end of this year, it's going to move towards about 22 to 24 gigawatts. Those are big numbers in terms of the actual demand for data centers. But if you look at the graph to my right, the bottom right, you would see that supply is constant. Supply isn't changing. And therefore, last year was a crossover where demand outstripped supply. So what can procurement teams or construction teams do about this? Well, one of the things you can do is you standardize your products, right, as much as you can across a particular region. You could digitalize, where you use digital twins to actually track the supply chain process, but you can also build data centers offsite and deploy. These are some of the strategies you can use. But the most important thing is you would actually have very good relationships with key vendors, and that's where we come in. So for those that know, we announced that we've been bought out by Samsung in May this year. And what that means is that we're in a position where we can provide a multi-path supply to a lot of our clients. So the first thing is global manufacturing footprint. We already have 14 factories across the world, and that's set to increase with our relationship with Samsung. But we also deal with local presence in terms of build and assembly and service, but also we have a global power to deal with our own supply chain to make sure we get the products and the components to where it needs to be at the right time. We don't necessarily have to use one factory to deal with a data center build. We can use more than one factory. We can have dual resilience when it comes to a multi-path support system. And finally, it's not just components or materials or equipment that is in jeopardy with this accelerated AI program. It's also people. People are becoming scarce. And we are proud of the people we have, 3,500 people we have, most of them technical, that deal with a lot of the data center projects. And they are divided across clients and across projects. Quick case study. So there was a large US co-location company that was coming to Europe, and they had a very simple remit. They wanted to be able to build multiple data centers, multiple cities, simultaneously with a drop-dead time at the end of it. And they came to us because we had a number of manufacturing facilities, and we decided to work on a multi-path structure where we can build, doesn't matter what factory it is, we'll build it, we'll supply it, and it'll be harmonized across the manufacturing process. So therefore the quality and the type of units remain the same. They were happy with us, we met the deadlines, and that means that we're now moving on to a number of projects around the world with this particular client. So you have AIs outstripping, or AI builds is certainly outstripping supply. That's the problem. There are lots of things you can do about it. One of the key things is how you foster key relationships with key vendors. And Flact is one of them. And we're in a position to do that. Why? Well, we manufacture AHUs, fan walls, CRAHs, cracks, and CDUs for liquid cooling. And we have 800 offices in 65 countries, 3,500 employees, 170 of whom deal direct with R&D. And we turn over $1 billion a year. And now with Samsung, we're in prime position to deal with some of the biggest data center issues around supply chain management, particularly when it comes to cooling. So we're at stand 41. Which is at the back there. And we also have a large CDU live at stand 41A, which as you walk in is just to the right, not the left, the right. So please come along, have a look at what we do. Talk to us. We have senior management here. We have our CEO here. So Trevor Young. So don't talk to me, talk to the big boss. but we can certainly help you with some of your needs. Thank you very much for your time.